Hello guys, what's new in Laravel over the last few years in Laravel 9 and 10? This is the question that we're answering this week on this channel, and topic of today is validation. So what new was released related to validation over the last few years? The biggest change, in my opinion, the first one is invocable validation classes. So if you have a custom validation class, the syntax now is different. So before it was passes and message function, now it's just invoke function where you can return $fail with your validation message if something is wrong with the validation rules. It's submitted by Tim McDonald, the core team member of Laravel, and in June 2022 it was introduced as invocable classes in Laravel 9, and then in Laravel 10 they decided to make that as default. So if you run a command php artisan make rule, by default it will generate the invocable rule structure. The old structure still works, so it's not a breaking change, but the default is the new syntax. Then a few more validation rules, new rules about numbers. So in Laravel 9, Dan Herring, creator of Filament, but he's also a contributor, active contributor to Laravel itself, introduced min digits and max digits. Not sure if you have ever tried to validate the number with size, not in terms of the number, how big it is, but the size in digits. And min, max, and size doesn't validate that. I even have a separate video on that, and I will link that in the description below about the problem itself. I stumbled upon it a few years ago myself pretty randomly. So in Laravel 9 there are specifically min digits and max digits for that case. And also kind of related, a new validation rule decimal from Raz with these cases, decimal 13, 03, or just 3, to have at least 3 digits in the fractional part. Or in the first two cases it's minimum and maximum of digits. So yeah, those two validation rules about numbers. Then a few more new validation rules about strings, maybe less popular, but I thought to mention them. So Tim McDonald contributed lowercase validation rule. So if you have something like this, that admin wouldn't pass because A is uppercase. So if you have a rule that your input should be lowercase, you can use that. But then on top of that, another person, another contributor, Michael Nabil, contributed the opposite, uppercase. So if for whatever reason you want your users to kind of shout at you with uppercase with caps lock, you can validate that as well. And then finally, kind of a small tweak again, but pretty useful in some situations, validation of array now includes in Laravel 9 index or pause placeholders in the validation messages. That pull request doesn't contain the example, so we can take a look at the example. By the way, another tip, if you don't understand the pull request or new feature of Laravel, go to files changed, and in most cases they contain the tests which would show the exact use case. So while browsing that pull request from the files changed perspective, test index values are replaced. So the case is this: you validate something and then input asterisk name required may have index, and then the result should be name 0 is required. So this was also contributed in Laravel 9 by Albert Sherman. So these are the things I found around validation in Laravel 9 and 10. What would you add to that list? Shoot in the comments below. And if you want to support my mission on this channel of digging out interesting Laravel features and showing that to you, you can support this channel by becoming a premium member of Laravel Daily.com, where we have a lot of courses, currently I think around 50 courses or something, including the latest ones on Filament, but a lot more stuff included as well. So yeah, that's it for this time, and see you guys in other videos.